Russian President Vladimir Putin is all set to visit India today for the traditional annual summit between leaders of both countries as India gears up for the much-anticipated Modi-Putin talks in the evening. Reports suggest up to 10 bilateral agreements will be signed during President Putin's visit to boost the India-Russia strategic partnership. This will be Putin's second visit outside Russia this year. The first was in June to meet US President Joe Biden in Geneva. Putin has skipped visits to the G20 summit, the Glasgow Climate Conference, and rescheduled a visit to China because of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. His trip to India highlights the significance Putin places on bilateral ties with traditional ally India. With this visit, Putin is indicating that this tour is not just about maintaining the special strategic partnership with India, but also about strengthening the bilateral relationship. This comes despite New Delhi's growing closeness to Washington. According to reports, Russia and India will sign 10 bilateral agreements in various areas, including some semi-confidential ones following the talks. The meeting between Putin and Indian Prime Minister is also likely to see the presentation of the S-400 air defense system to India. According to reports, both the countries are also likely to sign a deal on supplying AK-203 assault rifles to India. Despite the changing geopolitical equations, Delhi and Moscow remain closest of allies. But some areas of difference will be difficult to ignore, given the fact that both Russia and India are cozying up to different partners involved in the geopolitical rivalry between US and China. The clash of ideas regarding the Indo-Pacific and the re-emergence of the Quad grouping comprising of Australia, Japan, US and India could create an impact on the upcoming summit. Joining us live on this broadcast for more on this is P.S. Raghavan, former envoy to Russia. Sir, thank you very much for making time and for joining us at this hour. Let's evaluate the forum and ministerial dialogues. Apart from strengthening ties and signing agreements, what benefits to both countries will be seen in the future from this India-Russia courtship?
Thanks very much for having me. I think, as you said in your introduction, there is a strong symbolism in President Putin's visit to start with. The fact that this is only the second visit outside this country that he is making post-COVID. It also helps to correct some unhelpful narratives that have arisen because of the postponement of the summit last year because of COVID. But look, I think if you look at what today's engagements are, what is really striking is the intensity of the engagement that is taking place over today. You know, and that actually answers your question in many ways. We started with the defense ministers meeting, signing a few deals, working out a roadmap for the future of defense cooperation, which is a very important aspect of our cooperation, including actually indigenization, trying to impart technologies that will enable us to manufacture in India. Then you have the foreign ministers meeting about the bilateral scene as well as the difficult geopolitical environment around us, which also you referred to, which have a number of conflicting pulls in different directions.
Right.
And then you have the 2+2, the foreign and defense ministers meeting, which really draws these strands together in a way to sort of define the strategic compass of the relationship. How we look at the world, how each of us looks at the world, what are our various perspectives on various global issues, where we agree, of course, and where we differ as well. And as you again pointed out, we differ on various areas. And the idea is to be very clear as to what it is that we agree on, how we move forward on that, and how we manage the differences in such a way that what binds us can be moved forward, and what does not bind us can be managed in a suitable way. And then, you see, you cap it all with the summit meeting when President Putin comes here later in the day.
Right.
And of course, he has an excellent rapport with our Prime Minister, which over the last 7 years we've seen this. And that, I think, will bring together the elements where we decide how we can move forward together. The last point I'll make, you know, the India-Russia relations is not exclusive. You mentioned other relationships. Yes, there are other relationships. I don't think other relationships should impact on this, and this should not impact on the others.
All right. Mr. Raghavan, Russia has a record of sticking to the plan, and in this summit, strengthening defense capabilities and also cementing long-standing relationship is the plan. and not squabbles over the Quad grouping. Having ever been an envoy, what could be stoking Russia's silence over the alliance?
You mean about the Quad?
Yes.
Well, first of all, I would say the Quad is not an alliance. The Quad is actually a group of countries which have a number of very common perspectives on how to bring about a cooperative order in the Indo-Pacific region. As you know, the region is of very great importance to India from an economic and security perspective. And we would like to see that it does not become the ground for hegemony of any other power. You know, we're talking about China in this context. We have a number of common perspectives with the other Quad countries, but at the same time, it is not an alliance. So, yes, now the point about Russia's attitude to that, it really comes from the Russia-US fallout and the Russia-West fallout, where the and also, let me point out, the Trump administration's narrative on the Indo-Pacific was not really very helpful because it put it in terms of an ideological contest between the free world and the repressive world order. And it seemed to Russia that along with China, Russia was also clubbed as a target of the Indo-Pacific strategy. The Biden administration has been more circumspect in that. At the same time, yes, Russia is very worried about where the Americans are leading the Quad. Russia as well knows that India does not move in that same direction. India has an independent outlook on how the Quad should be and where it should lead. And this is very much part of the discussions which President Putin and Prime Minister Modi will have. They had this conversation already in 2019 in Vladivostok, when our Prime Minister went to Vladivostok for the last summit in 2019. So it is an ongoing conversation. It's a conversation where, as I said, it is a conversation that ensures that each side understands there is no exclusivity in relations.
All right.
Because just as you say that the Russians are worried about what India is doing in the Quad, I can say India is also watching the Russia-China relationship with great care.
All right.
Because we would also like to make sure that Russia-China relations do not move in a direction which is inimical to our interests. So all these are, right, this is the part of global geopolitics today. There is a churn where there are a number of cross currents, and we have to make sure that we navigate these currents in an intelligent way.
P.S. Raghavan, thank you very much for your insights and for talking to WION.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.